What if I told you that a simple habit you've been doing for years might be silently working against you, and you won't even know it until it shows up in your blood test? It might sound dramatic, but the truth is, many of the everyday choices we think are harmless are actually putting our health at risk. Whether it's those extra servings of sugar, skipping your daily walk, or ignoring that lingering fatigue, the consequences often show up in the most unexpected ways, through your blood test results. And by the time they do, it may be harder to reverse the damage than you thought. We all get blood tests at some point, and they can be a wake-up call. But what if I told you that some of the results might surprise you, revealing health problems you didn't even know were brewing? You might think everything is fine, only to discover high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, or a red flag for a serious condition lurking in the numbers. You thought you were just living your life, but your body was giving you signals you ignored, and now they're impossible to overlook. In this video, we're going to talk about the things you thought were harmless, until they showed up in your blood test. These are habits you may not even think twice about, but they could be leading to consequences that could affect your future health. You'll learn about the most common blood test results that might shock you, and how they're connected to lifestyle choices you're making right now. By the end of this video, you'll have a better understanding of what to watch out for, and more importantly, how to take control of your health before it's too late. So stay tuned until the end, because some of these insights might surprise you, and the changes you make today could add years to your life. Let's get started. Let's start by talking about something that most of us don't think twice about: the everyday habits we engage in. The small, seemingly harmless choices that don't immediately seem like they could harm us. Whether it's grabbing that extra cup of coffee in the morning, snacking late at night, or skipping your workout because you're just too tired, these habits often fly under the radar. They seem insignificant in the moment, and you convince yourself they're not a big deal. After all, it's just one more coffee, one more piece of chocolate, or one more episode of your favorite show, right? But here's the catch. These little actions, they're building up over time, silently affecting your health. The cumulative effect of these seemingly harmless choices can show up in your blood test results in ways that might shock you. Imagine going to the doctor, feeling fine, and then walking out with test results that tell you that your blood sugar is higher than it should be, or that your cholesterol levels are creeping into dangerous territory. You might think, but I feel fine. I don't have any symptoms. Yet there they are, numbers on a page that paint a picture of habits you've been ignoring. Let's break this down. Most of us have been told time and again about the importance of eating healthy, exercising, and managing stress. But what does it actually look like when we don't take those warnings seriously? The effects can be subtle at first. Maybe you don't notice the small weight gain, the occasional fatigue that creeps in, or that slight drop in energy after lunch. At first, it doesn't seem like anything to worry about, but when your blood tests come back with elevated glucose or higher than normal cholesterol, it's a wake-up call. These results aren't always caused by major events. They often happen slowly over time as a result of neglecting the smaller habits. Your body may be giving you signals, but it's up to you to listen before it's too late. Let's talk specifically about diet for a moment. Many people think that eating a little junk food here and there isn't going to make a difference. After all, they're only human, right? A burger and fries won't destroy everything, right? But here's the problem. While one meal might not cause an immediate problem, eating those kinds of foods regularly starts to add up. Over time, those unhealthy foods, the ones high in sugar, sodium, and unhealthy fats, start taking a toll on your body. Your liver, heart, and blood vessels bear the brunt, and it doesn't take long for that to show up in your blood test. But diet isn't the only culprit. Lack of exercise is another major factor. We all know we should be more active, but after a long day of work or dealing with the stresses of life, the last thing we want to do is hit the gym. So we skip the walk, take the elevator instead of the stairs, and choose the convenience of sitting over the energy it takes to move. But when you're not moving enough, your body starts to slow down, and your blood tests start to reflect that. Your blood pressure might rise, your cholesterol levels may go up, and your blood sugar could spike, all of which can lead to bigger problems down the road, things like heart disease, diabetes, and even stroke. And don't get me started on stress. We live in a world that's constantly on the go. Between work, family obligations, and the daily grind, it's easy to neglect how much stress we're under. Stress doesn't just take a mental toll, it has a physical impact too. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone, and that's where things can get complicated. Chronic stress can lead to a range of health issues, including high blood pressure, a weakened immune system, and you guessed it, abnormal blood test results. When cortisol levels stay high over time, they can trigger inflammation in the body, increase your blood sugar, and elevate your cholesterol, setting the stage for serious conditions like heart disease. At first, you might not notice the signs. You might tell yourself that you're too busy to exercise or that you'll start eating healthier next week. You push through the fatigue, ignore the small aches and pains, and keep moving forward. But the problem is, your body is always processing what you put it through. When you don't prioritize your health, your blood tests start to reveal what's been building up under the surface. And by the time you notice, it might already be too late to reverse the damage. Here's the most frustrating part. Many people ignore these warning signs because they don't feel sick. There's this common misconception that if you feel fine, everything is fine. But blood tests tell a different story. You may not feel the effects of high cholesterol or elevated blood sugar in the short term, but over time these conditions can lead to major health problems, including heart attacks, strokes, or even kidney failure. And it's not just about the numbers themselves, it's the lifestyle choices that led to those numbers. If you're not addressing the habits that created them, you're just masking the problem. Think about it this way. Your body is like a car. You wouldn't ignore the check engine light indefinitely, right? You'd get it checked out. But with your health, the signs are much subtler, and it's easier to push them to the back of your mind. We think, it's just a little weight gain, it's just a few extra snacks, it's just one skipped workout. But all these justs add up, and when you get that blood test result, you realize that the cost of ignoring these habits is far greater than the temporary comfort they provided. So what can you do about it? The first step is recognizing that the small choices you make every day, what you eat, how active you are, how you manage stress, are directly affecting your health in ways you might not even realize. Blood tests are a great tool to catch these issues early, but you don't need to wait for a test to start making healthier choices. Start now. Take the stairs. Go for a walk. Eat more whole foods and less processed junk. Take time to relax and unwind. These are small changes that, when made consistently, can have a big impact on your blood test results and your long-term health. It's time to take those seemingly harmless habits seriously. You don't need to be perfect, but it's important to start making intentional choices that support your health instead of ignoring the small signs that things might not be as fine as they seem. Your body is trying to tell you something, and it's time to listen before it's too late. Now that we've discussed how seemingly harmless habits can quietly affect your health, let's dive into the blood tests themselves and the surprising results that may show up. The truth is, blood tests are one of the best ways to reveal underlying health issues that might not show obvious symptoms. Most people think of a blood test as just a routine checkup, a small task to tick off on the way to feeling fine. But the reality is that blood tests are often the first signal that something bigger is happening inside your body. These tests can uncover problems like high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, liver issues, and even the early stages of serious conditions you might have never guessed. So let's talk about some of the most common and often most shocking results that come up in a blood test. Imagine walking into your doctor's office thinking everything is just fine, only to hear that your cholesterol is high, your liver enzymes are elevated, or your blood sugar is creeping up into pre-diabetic territory. These are results that can feel like a punch in the gut because they often come as a surprise. You thought you were eating okay, maybe even exercising a bit here and there. But these results are telling a different story, one that's more serious than you may have realized. Take cholesterol, for example. It's one of the most common issues that shows up in a blood test, and for good reason. Elevated cholesterol doesn't just show up overnight, it's the result of years of habits, often tied to what we eat and how active we are. Many people, especially in their 40s and 50s, believe that high cholesterol is something that happens when you're much older, but it can creep up on you quietly. And here's the thing. Even if you don't have a family history of heart disease, a poor diet or lack of exercise can still put you at risk. Most people don't even realize how bad their diet really is until they get those test results in hand. You might have been eating takeout regularly or not paying attention to how much red meat or processed food you're consuming. That extra bowl of chips, that fast food dinner, Those sugary snacks, they add up, and those elevated cholesterol levels are the result. The scariest part, you might not even feel different. You might feel perfectly fine, thinking, I don't need to worry about this. But a simple blood test can show the damage that's already been done. What happens when cholesterol levels go unchecked? The more cholesterol you have in your bloodstream, the more likely it is to start clogging your arteries, increasing your risk for heart attacks and strokes. And here's something most people don't realize. High cholesterol doesn't necessarily mean you'll feel anything right away. In fact, many people with high cholesterol have no idea, which is why blood tests are so important. The problem is, people often avoid or delay checkups until they feel something is wrong. But by then, the damage may already be done. Now let's talk about another blood test result that can be equally shocking: blood sugar. Most people believe that only diabetics need to worry about blood sugar levels, but that couldn't be further from the truth. Many people, especially as they get older, find that their blood sugar levels are creeping up without them even realizing it. Blood sugar is tricky. It can be high and cause damage over time without you ever feeling it. You might have heard the term pre-diabetes thrown around, but did you know that it can show up in your blood test long before full-blown diabetes develops? What's particularly alarming about blood sugar issues is how quickly they can escalate. If you're not careful, prediabetes can quickly turn into full-blown diabetes, leading to a whole host of health problems, including kidney disease, nerve damage, heart disease, and more. And what makes this especially tricky is that you might not notice anything unusual until it's too late. Fatigue, increased thirst, and frequent urination can be signs, but they often don't show up until blood sugar is much higher than it should be. Again, blood tests give you the earliest indication, sometimes years before you ever notice any symptoms. That's why staying on top of your blood sugar levels is so crucial, especially if you have a sedentary lifestyle or a diet high in sugar and processed foods. But cholesterol and blood sugar aren't the only things that can show up in your blood test and raise concerns. Let's talk about liver function. We often don't think much about our liver until there's a real problem. The liver does a lot of work behind the scenes. It helps detoxify the body, breaks down nutrients, and processes waste. But when you're overloading it with too much alcohol, a poor diet, or medications, it starts to show in your blood work. Elevated liver enzymes, which can appear on a blood test, are often an early warning sign that your liver is struggling. You might not feel any different, but the test results tell a different story. This is especially important for those who drink alcohol regularly or take prescription medication that can affect liver function. The scariest part about liver damage is that it doesn't always have obvious symptoms, and by the time you feel something, it might be too late. The liver can be under stress for years before it shows any signs of damage. That's why regular blood tests are vital, because they can spot those early signs, allowing you to make lifestyle changes that can protect your liver from further damage. The earlier you catch liver issues, the better your chances of reversing or at least slowing down the damage. But why is this all happening in the first place? It all comes down to the fact that the habits we form, often without even thinking about it, are having a huge impact on our long-term health. The way we eat, how much we move, how much stress we carry, all of these factors play into what shows up on our blood tests. And the biggest issue, the things that cause these results, aren't always things we feel or notice right away. So many of us are guilty of thinking, I feel fine, so I must be fine. But your blood debt doesn't lie. It's the proof that what you're doing or not doing is affecting your body in ways you can't see. Here's the thing. Blood tests aren't something to fear, but they're not something to ignore either. They're your opportunity to catch health issues before they turn into bigger problems. By staying on top of your health, scheduling regular checkups, and getting blood tests when needed, you can make sure that your lifestyle choices aren't slowly leading you down a dangerous path. And the best part is, when you catch something early, there's so much you can do to turn it around. The sooner you act, the better your chances of staying healthy for the long run. So now that we've covered some of the most common and often surprising results that can show up in your blood tests, let's talk about something even more concerning. What happens when you thought you were healthy, until that test result completely blindsides you? You walk in with no major complaints, thinking everything is fine. Maybe you've been feeling a little tired, but nothing that seems to suggest there's anything really wrong. You might even convince yourself that you've been eating well, staying active enough, and managing stress like anyone else. But then you get that call from your doctor. The results are in, and they're not what you expected. Suddenly, the reality you thought you were living in shifts. The test results tell a different story than you had in your head. I want to take a closer look at how many of us walk around feeling completely fine, only to be stunned when something serious shows up in our blood tests. It's that moment when you thought you were doing okay, maybe even thriving, but your numbers are telling you a different story. This isn't just a hypothetical scenario. It happens all the time. People assume that because they don't feel sick, they're healthy. But by the time those shocking results show up in the blood test, the damage has already begun to build. Take the example of someone who has been eating what they consider a normal diet. They're not gorging on fast food every day, but they also aren't exactly living on whole grains and leafy greens. They have their indulgences, takeout on a Friday night, a sweet treat after dinner, maybe even a couple of extra cups of coffee a day. But for the most part, they don't feel any major effects. Their energy is steady, they aren't gaining a significant amount of weight, and they're still able to function day to day, until they go in for a routine checkup, and the blood test results show that their cholesterol is through the roof, and their blood pressure is creeping into dangerous territory. It's a reality that a lot of people face. You think you're doing well because you don't feel any different, but behind the scenes, your body is starting to wear down, and these small, gradual shifts are leading you towards serious health complications. In cases like this, the doctor might say something like, "Your cholesterol is higher than we'd like. We need to start talking about lifestyle changes." Or maybe they'll mention the possibility of medication, even though you felt fine up until that point. That's when it hits what you thought was a normal, healthy lifestyle isn't so normal after all. What's especially concerning is that these issues can develop slowly. High cholesterol, for example, doesn't make you feel different right away. You don't get immediate warning signs. It's not like your body gives you an obvious red flag. No sudden chest pains or dizziness. Instead, the damage builds up over months, even years. Without you realizing, you go through your days thinking everything is fine, and it's not until that blood test result shows up that you start to recognize the toll it's been taking. And by that time, the problem could already be making an impact on your heart or arteries. The same goes for high blood sugar or prediabetes. You might not notice anything significant at first. Maybe you're a little hungrier than usual, or you're drinking more water, but those signs could easily be dismissed as temporary, nothing to worry about. Then, when your blood test results come back with a high fasting blood glucose level, the reality hits. Suddenly, you're faced with a diagnosis that you didn't see coming, and your mind races. How did this happen? I didn't feel any different. I wasn't tired all the time. I thought I was fine, but the numbers don't lie. And the truth is, blood sugar can rise without you noticing any drastic symptoms, until it's already a bigger issue. When it comes to liver health, many people don't realize how easy it is for this organ to get damaged. The liver doesn't show symptoms until it's in trouble. If you've been indulging in alcohol or eating fatty foods without thinking much about it, it might not register that you're putting undue stress on your liver. But when your blood test results show elevated liver enzymes, that's a sign that something's not quite right. It's an early warning. Your liver might not be processing things properly, and over time it could lead to more serious conditions like fatty liver disease, or even cirrhosis. And just like the other conditions, you might not have felt any different at all. The fatigue might have seemed like stress. The slight indigestion could have been dismissed as something you ate. It wasn't until your blood test revealed the truth that you had a clear picture of what was going on inside. It's all too easy to dismiss the small signs and chalk them up to getting older or busy life. After all, who hasn't experienced stress or the occasional late night that leads to some fatigue the next day? But these small things can be the first signs of something more serious. And what's most frustrating is that many of these issues are preventable, or at least manageable, if they're caught early. That's the real value of blood tests. They're not just for finding out what's wrong. They're for catching problems before they get out of hand. It's about prevention, and more importantly, it's about giving you the chance to take action before something more serious happens. For some, getting that surprise result is the moment they realize how important it is to take better care of their health. It's that jarring wake-up call that forces a change. But for others, it's easy to brush it off, thinking that it's not that bad, that they don't need to make drastic changes. The problem is, the longer you wait, the harder it becomes to reverse the damage. What started as a small issue could snowball into a major health concern that requires medication, long-term treatment, or even surgery. The good news is, these results aren't the end of the road. They're an opportunity to make meaningful changes that can reverse or prevent further damage. Whether it's changing your diet, increasing your physical activity, or managing stress more effectively, taking action now can improve your health in the long run. The earlier you catch these problems, the easier they are to fix. But it all starts with being proactive about your health. If you've received a test result that shocked you, don't just ignore it. Don't chalk it up to getting older. Instead, use it as a reminder that your health is in your hands, and the right changes now can make a world of difference in the future. So now that we've talked about how certain habits can silently affect your health and how blood tests reveal shocking truths, let's address something that might be even more unnerving: the possibility that it's already too late. It's a tough pill to swallow, but sometimes, after years of neglecting your health or taking certain habits for granted, the damage might have already been done. It's easy to tell ourselves, "I'm fine," or "it's not that serious," but what happens when the blood tests come back with results that show significant damage has occurred? For some people, the numbers on the test are a wake-up call, but for others, they're a harsh reminder of a reality they wish they could ignore. Let's face it, many of us live with the false belief that we're invincible. We convince ourselves that we don't have to worry about our health until something really major happens, like a heart attack or stroke. We assume we're too young or too active for these kinds of things to be a problem. And even if something does seem off, we dismiss it. That slight fatigue? Probably just stress. That small weight gain? It's just the holidays. We can always start taking care of ourselves tomorrow, right? But what happens when tomorrow comes and you're faced with a blood test that shows your health is far worse than you thought? This isn't meant to scare you. It's meant to get you thinking. Sometimes the warning signs we dismiss as minor inconveniences turn out to be the first indicators of something much more serious. A blood test that reveals things like elevated cholesterol, high blood sugar, or poor liver function is not just a number on a page. It's your body's way of sending you a loud and clear message. And unfortunately, by the time you see those numbers, the damage may already be significant. Let's take high blood pressure, for example. It's known as the silent killer because it often doesn't show symptoms until it's too late. You could be walking around with elevated blood pressure for years, thinking you feel fine, but by the time you get the blood test results, you might find that your blood vessels are already under significant stress. High blood pressure can lead to heart disease, kidney failure, and even strokes. And what's even scarier is that it doesn't always cause symptoms until major damage has already been done. Once blood pressure reaches dangerous levels, it can be much harder to reverse the damage, and it often requires a combination of medication and major lifestyle changes to get it under control. Another example is high cholesterol. You may have heard about the dangers of high cholesterol, but what many people don't realize is that high cholesterol can silently damage your arteries and lead to plaque buildup over time. When blood tests reveal high cholesterol levels, it's a sign that your arteries are already beginning to clog. This can lead to a heart attack or stroke down the line if it isn't addressed. And here's the kicker. You might not feel a thing. High cholesterol doesn't have symptoms, so it's easy to assume everything is fine until the blood test results say otherwise. And by that time, those high levels could have been contributing to a slow but steady buildup of plaque in your arteries. The truth is, by the time many of these issues show up in your blood test, they're often already causing damage. Blood sugar issues, for example, can start showing up in blood tests long before you ever notice the symptoms of diabetes. Prediabetes, which often goes undetected for years, can gradually develop into full-blown diabetes. If you're not aware of your blood sugar levels and you don't take action early, diabetes can lead to major complications including nerve damage, kidney failure, and vision loss. The problem is that many people don't even realize they're in the early stages of it until it's too late to avoid the long-term damage. But it's not just the big issues like heart disease, stroke, and diabetes that can creep up on you. Sometimes, the damage happens in ways that are less noticeable, but just as serious. Let's talk about liver function. Many people don't even think about their liver until something goes wrong. You might have a few drinks here and there, eat rich foods, or take medications without considering the toll it's taking on your liver. Elevated liver enzymes in your blood test can indicate that your liver is under stress and that it may not be functioning as well as it should. But here's the thing, The liver is a resilient organ, and by the time it starts showing signs of distress in your blood tests, it's already been struggling for some time. If you've been neglecting your liver health, it might be harder to repair than you think. This is the harsh reality of many health issues. They develop slowly, and by the time you realize something's wrong, it's often harder to reverse the damage. High cholesterol, blood sugar imbalances, liver problems, these things don't just happen overnight. They build up over time, and they often show up in your blood tests long before you notice any serious symptoms. That's why it's so crucial to get regular checkups and to act on the results right away, before things get worse. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to turn things around. So what do you do when you get that blood test result that shows the damage is already done? First and foremost, don't panic. It's not the end of the world. Yes, the damage might be significant, but it's never too late to take action. Your doctor will likely guide you on the next steps, which could include medication, lifestyle changes, and more frequent monitoring. The earlier you catch these problems, the more options you'll have for treatment. And even if the damage is more advanced, there are still ways to manage the condition and improve your quality of life. It might require more work, more effort, and more dedication, but it's not too late to take control of your health. The key here is prevention. The more proactive you are about your health, whether that means eating better, exercising, managing stress, or getting regular checkups, the better your chances are of avoiding these serious health problems. Blood tests are a powerful tool, but only if you use them as an opportunity to make changes. Don't wait until the damage is irreversible. Act on those test results as soon as they come in. Catching problems early means you can make changes now rather than dealing with the consequences down the road. We all want to live long, healthy lives, but we can't just assume that things will work out on their own. We have to be proactive about our health. It's easy to ignore the small signs and think, it's not that bad. But the truth is that small issues can turn into big ones if you don't take them seriously. So, the next time you get your blood test results, don't brush them off. Take a good look at what they're telling you, and take action. You've got the power to change your health, and the earlier you act, the better your chances for a longer, healthier future. Now let's talk about something that could be your secret weapon in this whole process: prevention. We've already covered the frightening reality that many health problems show up in blood tests after years of neglect. But here's the good news. By making some simple yet effective changes to your daily routine, you can drastically improve your health and even reverse some of the damage done. The best part? You don't have to make drastic changes all at once. Small, sustainable shifts are all it takes to get your health back on track. In fact, these seemingly minor changes can lead to major improvements in your blood test results, and more importantly, your overall well-being. Let's start with one of the most critical aspects of prevention: diet. Now, I know this might sound like the go-to advice everyone always gives you, but here's why it's essential. Your diet directly impacts your blood test results. Poor eating habits, especially those high in sugar, unhealthy fats, and sodium, can lead to high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar levels, and liver stress. But the reverse is also true. The right foods can help lower cholesterol, stabilize blood sugar, and keep your liver functioning properly. So what should you be eating? The key is focusing on whole, nutrient-dense foods. Think fruits, vegetables, whole grains, and lean proteins. These foods are packed with the vitamins, minerals, and antioxidants your body needs to function at its best. By incorporating more of these into your daily meals, you'll be fueling your body with the nutrients it needs to repair, regenerate, and stay healthy. This doesn't mean you have to go on an extreme diet or cut out all of your favorite foods, but making small adjustments can make a big difference over time. For example, swap out white bread for whole grain options. Choose olive oil over butter, and aim to eat more plant-based meals. It's about balance, not perfection. But diet isn't the only piece of the puzzle. Exercise is just as crucial. Many people think that they need to go to the gym for hours to see results, but that's simply not true. The most important thing is to keep moving. Regular physical activity helps maintain healthy blood pressure, supports weight management, and promotes good cardiovascular health. It also helps regulate blood sugar levels and can even reduce stress. The key here is consistency. It doesn't matter if you're walking for 20 minutes a day, doing yoga at home, or taking up a sport you enjoy. The more consistent you are, the better the results. Studies have shown that even moderate physical activity can improve your blood test results by lowering cholesterol and stabilizing blood sugar levels. So whether you start with short walks around the block or a quick workout at home, the goal is to get moving and make it a regular habit. If you've been sedentary for a while, start slow and gradually build up to more intense activity. The important thing is to make it part of your routine. And let's not forget about stress management. Chronic stress is often overlooked as a major health factor, but it can wreak havoc on your blood test results. When you're stressed, your body releases cortisol, the stress hormone. Over time, high cortisol levels can lead to inflammation, increased blood pressure, and elevated blood sugar levels. These factors can all show up in your blood test results, leading to higher risks of heart disease, diabetes, and other chronic conditions. To counteract the effects of stress, it's important to find ways to relax and recharge. This can be as simple as taking a few minutes each day to practice deep breathing, meditation, or mindfulness. Even a brief moment of calm can help reduce cortisol levels and improve your overall health. And don't underestimate the power of sleep. Getting enough quality rest each night is vital for stress management and overall well-being. Lack of sleep not only increases stress but also messes with your metabolism, blood pressure, and blood sugar levels. Aim for at least 7 to 8 hours of restful sleep each night and try to stick to a consistent sleep schedule. Now, I know it's easy to feel overwhelmed by all of this. You might be thinking, I have so many things to change. Where do I even start? The good news is, you don't have to tackle everything at once. In fact, taking small, manageable steps will lead to longer-lasting results. Start with 1 or 2 changes, and as you build new habits, you'll naturally want to incorporate more. Here are a few suggestions to get you started. Start with your diet. If you're not already eating whole foods, try adding 1 serving of vegetables to every meal. This simple step can make a huge difference in your overall nutrition. Move more. Try to incorporate at least 20-30 minutes of physical activity into your daily routine. It could be as simple as taking a walk after dinner or stretching in the morning. Reduce stress. Start practicing stress reduction techniques like deep breathing or journaling. Just 5 minutes a day can help manage stress and improve your health. Prioritize sleep. Set a consistent bedtime and aim to get enough sleep each night. It may take time, but your body will thank you for it. Get regular checkups. Finally, don't underestimate the power of regular blood tests and doctor visits. The earlier you catch any health issues, the easier they are to manage. It's all about staying proactive rather than reactive. As you begin to implement these changes, keep in mind that you won't see results overnight. It takes time for your blood test results to improve. But the good news is that with consistent effort, you'll start seeing positive changes in your overall health. Your blood tests might not improve immediately, but over time, you'll begin to notice other benefits, like more energy, better sleep, and improved mood. And as you continue to make these healthy choices, you'll be investing in a longer, healthier life. But it's not just about improving your blood test results. It's about feeling good in your body and having the energy and vitality to do the things you love. It's about reclaiming control over your health and making choices that will benefit you for years to come. Every small step you take today sets you up for a better tomorrow. So take a moment to reflect. Are you ready to take control of your health? Are you ready to stop waiting for the next blood test result to shock you? If so, the time to act is now. Start with 1 small change, and before you know it, you'll be on your way to a healthier, happier life. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. And even the smallest steps forward can make a world of difference. As we continue discussing the importance of taking control of your health, let's dive into something that's crucial for long-term well-being but often overlooked: mental health. We tend to focus so much on the physical aspects of health, like exercise and diet, that we forget how much our mental and emotional states influence our overall health. And it's not just about feeling stressed or overwhelmed in the moment. Mental health has far-reaching effects on your body, and more importantly, it shows up in your blood test results in ways you might not expect, from elevated blood pressure to poor blood sugar regulation. The impact of your mental health can be profound and long-lasting. For many people, mental health issues are something they either downplay or ignore entirely. We tend to push through life, convincing ourselves that everyone feels a little stressed or anxious from time to time. But the reality is, Chronic stress, anxiety, and depression can have significant, far-reaching effects on your body. If you're constantly feeling overwhelmed, under pressure, or emotionally drained, your blood test results may reflect the toll it's taking on your body, and over time, this can lead to more serious health problems. One of the ways mental health issues manifest physically is through elevated cortisol, the hormone released by your body in response to stress. While cortisol is essential for short-term survival, helping you respond to immediate threats, it becomes a problem when it stays elevated for long periods. Chronic stress, whether from work, family, or personal challenges, leads to persistent high cortisol levels. Over time, this can increase inflammation in the body, raise blood pressure, and mess with your blood sugar levels. All of these factors show up in your blood tests and can significantly impact your health. It's like an invisible underlying issue that you might not even realize is happening. Elevated cortisol levels can cause your body to hold on to excess weight, particularly around your abdomen. This type of visceral fat, while it may not show on the outside, is incredibly dangerous and linked to higher risks of heart disease, diabetes, and even some cancers. This is one of the reasons why mental health issues are so closely tied to physical health. The chronic stress caused by life pressures, financial worries, or emotional struggles can manifest physically in ways that are difficult to ignore. And over time, that physical toll becomes evident in your blood tests. What's even more alarming is how stress and mental health challenges can influence other aspects of your well-being. Take sleep, for instance. If you're constantly stressed or anxious, chances are you're not sleeping well. And poor sleep, as we've already discussed, can affect your blood pressure, blood sugar, and overall health. It's a vicious cycle. Stress messes with your sleep, and poor sleep makes your stress worse. The toll it takes on your body might show up in your blood tests, with your cortisol levels remaining high and other markers, like glucose levels, becoming out of balance. And it's not just about physical symptoms. Mental health issues can also influence how you make choices about your health. When you're struggling with anxiety or depression, it's easy to neglect your diet, skip workouts, or let your emotional state dictate your decisions. You might not have the energy to prepare healthy meals or get outside for a walk. That's why mental health plays such a huge role in your physical health, because it shapes the decisions you make on a daily basis. If you're not mentally well, it's harder to make good decisions for your body. The problem, however, is that many people try to push through these feelings and assume that they'll just snap out of it. But chronic stress and mental health challenges don't just go away on their own. Left unchecked, they can lead to physical issues that may show up in your blood tests, like high blood sugar, high cholesterol, or high blood pressure. These issues are often interrelated and become much harder to treat once they've progressed. So what can you do about it? The first step is acknowledging the importance of mental health in your overall well-being. If you're feeling overwhelmed or struggling with your mental health, it's crucial to address it head-on. That might mean talking to a professional, whether it's a therapist, counselor, or coach. It might mean learning new techniques for managing stress, such as mindfulness or meditation. It might even mean seeking support from friends or family. But whatever it is, it's essential to take that first step to protect not just your mind, but your body as well. In addition to seeking professional support, there are a few practical things you can do to reduce stress and improve your mental health. First, make time for yourself. Whether it's a quiet walk in nature, reading a book, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes, find small moments throughout your day to check in with yourself. These moments of peace are crucial for reducing stress and lowering cortisol levels. And remember, it's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Even just a few minutes of relaxation or deep breathing each day can help significantly reduce stress. Second, move your body. We've already talked about the importance of physical exercise in managing blood pressure and cholesterol, but it's also key for mental health. Exercise releases endorphins, the body's natural mood lifters. Even a light workout or walk can help clear your mind, reduce stress, and boost your mood. Try to make movement a regular part of your day, even if it's just a short walk after lunch or a stretching session in the morning. Third, focus on good sleep hygiene. Since stress often affects your ability to sleep, it's essential to prioritize quality rest. Create a nighttime routine that helps your body relax and unwind. This might include reducing screen time before bed, drinking herbal tea, or practicing deep breathing exercises. Getting enough sleep is crucial not only for reducing stress, but also for helping your body recover and repair. Finally, don't neglect nutrition. When we're stressed, we often turn to unhealthy foods for comfort, whether it's junk food or processed snacks. But these foods can exacerbate stress and impact your blood tests in a negative way. Instead, aim for a balanced diet that includes foods that nourish both your body and mind. Whole grains, fruits, vegetables, healthy fats, and lean proteins all support your body's ability to cope with stress and maintain balanced blood sugar and cholesterol levels. If you're struggling with mental health issues, it's easy to feel like you're fighting an uphill battle. But remember, your mental well-being is just as important as your physical health. By addressing both, you'll give yourself the best chance to maintain healthy blood test results and live a long, healthy life. Don't ignore the connection between your mind and body. It's all part of the same system. Taking care of your mental health will not only help you feel better emotionally, but it can improve your physical health in profound ways. As we wrap up this discussion, it's clear that health isn't something we can afford to take for granted. Whether it's the seemingly harmless habits we've developed, the blood test results that shock us, or the underlying issues we choose to ignore, our health requires constant attention and action. What we've learned is that small decisions, whether they're about diet, exercise, or how we handle stress, can have a profound impact on our overall well-being. The real key to longevity isn't about just avoiding illness, it's about actively working towards maintaining and improving our health every single day. And the good news is that it's never too late to start. We've discussed how even the most seemingly trivial habits like skipping workouts, choosing unhealthy snacks, or not getting enough sleep can add up over time, leading to results in blood tests that may surprise us. These results, whether it's high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, or even liver issues, are just signs that something deeper is going on inside. And while many of these problems may not present symptoms immediately, they can have long-lasting consequences if ignored. By the time the doctor calls with those results, the damage may already be done, or at least starting to take hold. But here's where it gets empowering. You have the ability to reverse or manage these issues by making conscious, informed choices every day. It all begins with recognizing that these changes don't have to be drastic. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight, but you do need to start making small adjustments. One of the most important things we can do for our health is stop waiting for something big to happen. Most people don't make health a priority until something goes wrong, until they're staring at a blood test result that shows a concerning trend or are forced to deal with an illness. But what if you could be proactive instead? What if you could take charge of your health today rather than waiting for a wake-up call? The beauty of prevention is that it's entirely within your hands and it doesn't have to be perfect. Start by paying attention to the small things. How often do you find yourself making excuses about eating poorly or skipping physical activity? We've all been there, grabbing that quick meal on the go, opting for the couch instead of the gym, or letting stress drive unhealthy habits. But each time you make one of those choices, it's another step away from optimal health. Now think about this. Every time you choose to walk instead of driving, to eat a salad instead of a fried meal, or to go to bed early instead of staying up late on your phone, you're actively improving your chances for better health down the road. You're setting yourself up for success in ways that might not pay off immediately, but will certainly benefit you in the long term. The truth is, it's easy to dismiss small changes. We live in a world where convenience often takes precedence over health. But what we fail to realize is that, over time, convenience can come at a price. Choosing unhealthy food options, ignoring exercise, or dealing with stress in ways that aren't productive can have cumulative effects. It might not be immediate, but it will eventually show up. It might show up in the form of elevated cholesterol, high blood pressure, or even something as serious as diabetes or heart disease. And when it does show up, you'll wish you had taken those small steps sooner. The good news is that you're not powerless in the face of these challenges. While blood tests can reveal the damage that's been done, they don't dictate your future. They are simply a snapshot of where things stand right now. But the path forward, that's entirely in your control. The decisions you make today are the ones that will shape your health tomorrow. And if there's one takeaway from this video, it's this. Don't wait for a blood test result to tell you it's time to change. Take control now and start making the small adjustments that will make a big difference in the future. It's not about being perfect, it's about being consistent. And it's not about making huge sacrifices, it's about finding balance. It's about making the small but significant decisions each day that build on each other to create lasting change. Start by setting small goals. Aim to walk for 20 minutes each day. Add an extra vegetable to your meals, or cut back on sugary drinks. These changes might feel small at first, but they will lead to lasting improvements in your health. But it's not just about physical health. The mental and emotional aspects of well-being are just as important. Chronic stress, anxiety, and neglecting our emotional health can have a direct impact on our blood test results. These issues may not always be as obvious, but the stress hormone cortisol, for example, can elevate blood pressure and glucose levels over time. When we don't manage our stress, we're not just damaging our mental health, but our physical health too. That's why it's essential to also focus on your mental health. By reducing stress, prioritizing sleep, and practicing mindfulness or relaxation techniques. Taking care of both your mind and body is what truly enables long-term health. Another crucial aspect of prevention is regular checkups. It's easy to ignore routine health screenings or blood tests because we feel fine. But it's these very tests that can catch issues early before they become serious. Think of them as your first line of defense. When you get those test results, it's important to not only understand what they mean, but to take action based on them. Don't wait for a crisis to force you into a change. If you catch something early, you can make adjustments before it becomes more complicated. As we look ahead, it's important to remember that prevention is the best medicine. And prevention doesn't have to be difficult. Small changes, consistent habits, and an awareness of how your lifestyle affects your body can go a long way in keeping you healthy. The key is to start making those changes now, before the blood test results catch up with you. Don't wait for the wake-up call. Be proactive. Your health is the most valuable asset you have, and you hold the power to protect it for years to come. So as you finish watching this video, take a moment to reflect on your health journey. What small changes can you make today that will lead to a healthier tomorrow? Whether it's diet, exercise, stress management, or regular checkups, the choices you make now are the ones that will impact your future. Remember, it's never too late to start, and every step you take towards better health is a step towards a longer, more fulfilling life. Start today, and don't look back.